Interview practice. This is really, really crucial. And the most helpful thing I think you can do in preparing for the interview is to practice. So, role play in a mock interview. Who are you going to do this with? Somebody who can give you good, helpful, and honest feedback. So, a career counselor, that would be fantastic. Also, a good friend, a colleague, a mentor, uh, perhaps a professor if you're close enough and someone was willing to spend time to do this with you. And basically, the reason to do this is to learn how you come across, the positives, and especially the nervous behaviors, any negatives, because you want to try to avoid those if you can. Now, keep in mind that recruiters know that people are nervous. It's normal, it's natural. You don't have to be cool, calm, and collected. You just want to try to accent the positive as much as possible. So, video is your best teacher. This is what I recommend. You can even just videotape yourself. You don't have to role play with another person if you don't have one. And even if you role play with another person, videotape yourself because I've never found a better teacher. You look at yourself and you can see exactly the things that you do well and things that you want to improve upon. Um, Definitely be careful about the nonverbals, about the eye contact. To show that you're interested, lean in slightly. Don't lean back. Don't slouch. Don't take it easy. And think about smiling, um, to convey that you're interested and you're upbeat and positive. If you're very nervous, sometimes you might not smile because you're so nervous. So keep that in mind. Another tip is to just summarize what someone said to make sure that they understand that you heard them and that you're listening closely. And one of the great tips that I love is using an interviewer's name. When you come in, if you're the kind of person who, like me, sometimes doesn't remember the person's name, try to use their name immediately, try to use it again soon after, and then use their name every 15 minutes. Write it down if you need to. Maybe they will give you their card and say, "Thank you, Maya," and use their name. That's great. You can take notes. It's not a problem. Taking notes conveys that you're taking things seriously and that you're interested. And then you may wish to follow up on this in the interview or after. How about questions on this so far?
I guess my first one would be, what are the worst interview mistakes that you've seen? And also, what are the best characteristics in the people that you've hired and you've had them for years and that worked out really well?
Great question. So, in terms of worst mistakes, uh, I would say, in a way, maybe it's a mistake, but in another way, maybe it's not a mistake. And what I mean to say is that the best advice in an interview is to be yourself. And when you hear be yourself, it doesn't mean be all of yourself. It doesn't mean to be your personal self. It means to be your best self. So remember, it's a professional situation and everything that you do could make a difference. So for example, I've had people in terms of mistakes that make some bad comment to the receptionist, and then the receptionist then follows up and shares that with the people who are interviewing the candidates. So anything that happens in the process of the interview, it adds up, and it's very important because people can say anything about you, and you can have whatever you want on your resume. However, the interview behavior, starting from the application itself, going through to a phone screen or scheduling, all of this adds up. So in terms of mistakes, um, for me, we hire people who are low maintenance. So someone who is high maintenance and they're making a big deal and a big problem about hiring, about scheduling, that kind of sends a red flag, immediately. So try to be flexible, motivated, and make things easy. Rolling your eyes, that was one that I've seen a few times. That's not a good one. Um, so there's quite a few more. As we go through, I'm going to share other tips with the interview, and then you can see what's good, and I'll share some best and worst. Um, and then the other part, Maya, that you asked was the good things. Is that right?
Yeah, the good things, but then also with employers that, or I'm sorry, employees that you've had for a really long time. Are there things that
Yes.
you've seen, like great things that you saw on day one with their interview?
So, I can think of a number of people who, during the interview, impressed me tremendously. Um, and what impressed me was that they seem to embody the spirit of Los Niños, our company mission, our company values. So the whole secret to the interview process is people are looking for a match. So don't be somebody you're not because you don't want somebody to hire you and then say to themselves later on, this is not the person that I hired. So I wouldn't try to be somebody you're not. But I mentioned low maintenance, somebody who's a very hard worker, somebody who cares for what we care for. The mission at our company is to be of great service to others. So someone who just says that in a whole bunch of ways through their prior experiences with other employers, that's what we look for. And yes, I've seen that immediately on people. And I can think of people that have been with us for 10, 15 years or more. So let's continue.